Stop waiting to feel motivated. This is one of the most common traps that keeps you stuck without you realizing it. You wait to feel ready. You wait for energy, clarity, the right mood. And while you wait, nothing happens. Motivation feels like a requirement, but it is not. It is a luxury. When you depend on motivation, your actions become inconsistent. Some days you act, most days you do not. And that inconsistency prevents any real progress from happening. From a neurological perspective, motivation is temporary. It is driven by emotional spikes, not by stable patterns. It can push you to start, but it cannot sustain you. What sustains behavior is repetition, not emotion. The problem is that waiting feels justified. You tell yourself, "I will do it when I feel better," or "I just need the right moment." But that moment rarely comes, and when it does not last. The habit here is simple. Act without waiting. You do not need to feel like doing something to start doing it. In fact, action often creates the motivation you were waiting for. Once you begin, resistance decreases, clarity increases, and momentum starts building. This is the shift. You stop treating motivation as a requirement and start treating action as the trigger. Because the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. But the moment you move, everything starts to change. Stop avoiding difficult tasks. You already know what you need to do. The problem is not lack of clarity, it is avoidance. You postpone the hard tasks, delay the uncomfortable decisions, and focus on what is easy instead. And every time you do that, you reinforce the same cycle. Avoidance feels productive sometimes. You stay busy, you do something, but not the thing that actually matters. And deep down, you know it. From a psychological perspective, your brain avoids what it perceives as discomfort or risk. Difficult tasks require effort, focus, and exposure to possible failure. So your mind looks for alternatives that feel safer. But those alternatives rarely move you forward. The habit here is confrontation, not aggressive, but direct. Identify the task you are avoiding and do it first. Not later, not when you feel ready, but now. Because avoidance grows with time. The longer you delay, the heavier the task feels. Once you start, something shifts. The resistance you felt was not the task itself, it was the anticipation of it. And as soon as you engage, that resistance begins to fade. This is how you build mental strength. Not by doing what is easy, but by consistently facing what you would normally avoid. Because every time you avoid, you weaken your mindset. And every time you confront, you strengthen it. There is no middle ground. Stop trusting every negative thought. Your mind produces thousands of thoughts every day, and many of them are negative by default. The problem is not that these thoughts exist. The problem is that you believe them without questioning. The moment a negative thought appears, you treat it as truth. This won't work. I'm not ready. I can't do this. And without realizing it, you let those thoughts dictate your actions. From a psychological perspective, thoughts are automatic, not verified. They are influenced by fear, past experiences, and bias. Just because a thought appears does not mean it is accurate. The habit here is separation. Instead of saying, "This is true," say, "This is a thought." That small shift creates distance between you and what your mind is producing. Then question it. Ask yourself, what evidence supports this? Most of the time, you will realize that your thoughts are exaggerated or incomplete. You are not trying to force positive thinking. You are trying to think clearly. Because when you stop trusting every negative thought, you stop reacting to them automatically. And once you stop reacting, you regain control. Your thoughts are not commands, they are suggestions, and you decide which ones to follow. Stop seeking constant validation. If your confidence depends on other people, it will never be stable. One day you feel good because you are recognized. The next day you feel uncertain because you are ignored. This is not strength. This is dependency. You look for approval before you act and confirmation after you act. And when it does not come, your mindset weakens. Not because you are incapable, but because you handed control to something outside of you. From a psychological perspective, this creates a fragile identity. Your sense of value becomes conditional. It fluctuates based on reactions, opinions, and feedback. And anything that fluctuates cannot sustain growth. The habit here is internal validation. Do what needs to be done without needing someone to acknowledge it. Measure your progress by your own standards, not by external responses. This feels uncomfortable at first, because you remove a source of reinforcement you are used to. But it is necessary if you want stability. Ask yourself, would I still do this if no one saw it? If the answer is no, then you are not acting from conviction. You are acting from approval, and that keeps you stuck. A strong mindset does not depend on being seen. It depends on being consistent. Because when your actions are no longer tied to validation, they become reliable. And reliability is what builds real confidence. Stop consuming without applying. You are not lacking information. You are lacking execution. You watch videos, read content, learn new ideas, and for a moment, it feels like progress. You feel engaged, motivated, even inspired. But then nothing changes, because learning without applying creates the illusion of growth, not real growth. From a psychological standpoint, consumption gives you a dopamine response. It feels productive, but it does not require risk, effort, or exposure. It is safe, and your brain prefers safe over challenging. The problem is that mindset is not built through understanding. It is built through action. You do not develop discipline by learning about discipline. You develop it by practicing it. The habit here is immediate application. Every time you learn something, apply it as soon as possible. Not perfectly, not completely, but practically. Test it in real situations. Use it. Fail with it. Adjust it. Because execution creates feedback. And feedback is what allows you to improve. If you keep consuming without acting, you stay in the same place, just with more information. And over time, this creates frustration. You know what to do, but you are not doing it. And that gap is what keeps your mindset undeveloped. Knowledge only becomes power when it changes your behavior. Until then, it is just stored information. Stop reacting emotionally to everything. Right now, most of your behavior is reactive. Something happens, and you immediately respond based on how you feel. No pause, no filter, no control. And the problem is not the emotion itself, it is the lack of space between feeling and action. When you react instantly, you give control to your emotions. A small frustration turns into a bad decision. A moment of doubt turns into inaction. A comment affects your entire mood. And over time, this creates instability. From a neurological perspective, instant reactions come from your limbic system, the emotional part of your brain. It is fast, automatic, and designed for survival. But it is not designed for long-term decision-making. The habit here is interruption. Create a pause between what you feel and what you do. Even a few seconds is enough. That pause allows your rational brain to engage, giving you the ability to choose instead of react. In that moment, ask yourself, what is the best response here, not the fastest one? This question shifts you from emotion to awareness. At first, you will still react. That is normal. But the more you practice, the more control you gain. Because emotional mastery is not about not feeling. It is about not being controlled by what you feel. And once you stop reacting to everything, your actions become more intentional, more consistent, and far more effective. Stop quitting. Too early. You are not failing because you cannot do it. You are failing because you do not stay long enough. You start with intention, sometimes even with discipline. But when results do not appear quickly, you stop. You assume it is not working. You lose interest. You move to something else. And every time you do that, you reset the process. From a neurological perspective, change requires repetition over time. Your brain needs consistent exposure to build new pathways. But if you stop too early, those pathways never become strong enough. You stay in the beginning phase, over and over again. The problem is that early progress is invisible. You do not see immediate results, so you think nothing is happening. But something is happening. It is just happening below the surface. The habit here is persistence without immediate reward. You continue even when it feels repetitive. You continue when it feels slow. You continue when there is no visible progress yet. Because what you are building first is not the result, it is the pattern. And once the pattern is strong, the results follow. Quitting early keeps you stuck in a cycle of starting and stopping, and that cycle destroys momentum. A strong mindset is not built by starting strong. It is built by continuing when nothing seems to be happening. And if you keep quitting early, you will never reach the point where change becomes visible. Stop surrounding yourself with limiting influences. Your mindset is not only shaped by what you think, but by what surrounds you. The people you interact with, the conversations you have, the standards you are exposed to, all of it is influencing your thinking, often without you noticing. If your environment is filled with people who avoid responsibility, complain constantly, and settle for less, that becomes your reference point. Not because you consciously agree, but because repeated exposure normalizes it. From a psychological perspective, this is social conditioning. Your brain adapts to what is common around you. If low standards are normal, high standards feel uncomfortable. And discomfort often pushes you back into familiar patterns. The habit here is intentional exposure. You do not need to cut people off, but you need to expand your environment. Seek out people, ideas, and content that challenge you. Surround yourself with higher standards, different perspectives, and stronger behaviors. Because what you are exposed to repeatedly becomes what you accept as normal. If you stay in the same environment, you will keep reinforcing the same mindset. Growth requires friction. It requires being in spaces where your current level is no longer enough. And once your reference point changes, your expectations change. And when your expectations change, your behavior starts to follow. If you keep surrounding yourself with limiting influences, your mindset will stay limited. Stop making excuses. Excuses are subtle. They sound reasonable, logical, sometimes even justified. I don't have time. I'm not ready. Now is not the right moment. And because they make sense on the surface, you accept them without resistance. But every excuse has the same function: protection. It protects you from discomfort, from effort, from the risk of failing. And in doing so, it also protects your current level. It keeps everything exactly as it is. From a psychological perspective, excuses reduce cognitive dissonance. They help you feel okay about not acting. Instead of confronting the gap between what you want and what you are doing, you create a reason that justifies inaction. The problem is not the excuse itself, it is the pattern. The more you use excuses, the easier they become. And over time, they turn into automatic responses. Instead of looking for solutions, your mind starts looking for reasons not to act. The habit here is ownership. The next time you catch yourself making an excuse, stop and replace it with a question. What can I do, even with this limitation? This forces your mind to shift from avoidance to action. Because there is always something you can do. It may not be ideal, it may not be perfect, but it is movement. Excuses keep you comfortable, but they also keep you stuck. And if you keep justifying inaction, your mindset will never develop. It will stay in the same place, supported by better and better reasons, but still in the same place. Stop living on autopilot. Most of your life is happening without your awareness. You wake up, think the same thoughts, follow the same routines, react in the same ways. Day after day, repeating patterns you rarely question. This is autopilot. It feels normal because it is familiar. But familiarity is not growth. It is repetition without reflection. From a neurological perspective, your brain automates behaviors to save energy. The more you repeat something, the less conscious effort it requires. This is efficient, but it is also dangerous. Because if your patterns are not intentional, they will keep reinforcing the same results. The problem is not having habits. The problem is having habits you did not choose. When you live on autopilot, you are not directing your mindset. You are being directed by it. Old beliefs, past experiences, and unconscious patterns take control, and you follow them without noticing. The habit here is awareness. Start observing your day, how you think, how you react, how you make decisions. Not to judge, but to see clearly. Because the moment you become aware of a pattern, it stops being automatic. And once it is no longer automatic, it becomes something you can change. This is the shift from passive living to intentional living. A developed mindset is not built by accident. It is built by conscious repetition. And if you are still on autopilot, you are not building anything. You are just repeating. The moment you wake up to your own patterns is the moment you start taking control.